and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Welcome to Dr. Gina Prime Time. It has been a wild news day in Georgia. Just hours ago, the State Senate Judiciary Subcommittee held a hearing on election irregularities, and shocking surveillance footage of the vote counting at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia was presented to that committee. The footage shows that the vote counting was stopped in the early morning hours and everyone was cleared out and told to go home. But not everyone left. You can see 5 people stayed behind and they began pulling boxes of ballots. I know, crazy. Can hardly believe your ears. Pulling boxes of ballots out from under a table. And then they ran those ballots through the vote counting machines. Can't make this stuff up, folks. The witness in front of the Senate committee there in Georgia testified that each machine will process 3,000 ballots in an hour. And with 5 people feeding the boxes of ballots into the machine, the number of fraudulent ballots far exceeds the margin of victory for Biden. So there you have it. Now, after seeing this surveillance video, there is no way that Georgia's 16 electoral votes should be counted for Joe Biden. Anyone who can do math should be able to figure that out. Now, I wonder if Attorney General Bill Barr still says there's no evidence of widespread election fraud. And I wonder if any of the alphabet soup media is deciding to report on any of this. Earlier today, President Trump was asked by a reporter in the White House about whether he still has confidence in Bill Barr. And here is what he had to say.
Do you still have confidence in Bill Barr?
Ask me that in a number of weeks from now.
The president then went on to say that they found so many fraudulent votes that the election in every state in question would be overturned. Watch.
We went through an election. At 10 o'clock, everybody said that was an easy victory for Trump. All of a sudden, the votes started disappearing, miraculously disappearing. We found much of it, but we found far more votes than we need in almost all of these states. And I think I can say in all of these states, far more votes than we need to win every one of them.
Now think about that. That's a big statement to make. His team has found far more votes than he needs to bring those states into the Trump column. Last night, the president released a video of a speech from the White House where he outlined the fraud that took place in this election and how they used the pandemic to mail out millions of ballots that were used fraudulently. Watch.
I want to explain the corrupt mail-in balloting scheme that Democrats systematically put into place that allowed voting to be altered, especially in swing states, which they had to win. What changed this year was the Democrat Party's relentless push to print and mail out tens of millions of ballots sent to unknown recipients with virtually no safeguards of any kind. This allowed fraud and abuse to occur on a scale never seen before. Using the pandemic as a pretext, Democrat politicians and judges drastically changed election procedures just months and in some cases weeks before the election.
And the president said that a lot of dead people somehow miraculously voted in this election. Check it out.
Many people received 2, 3, and 4 ballots. They were sent to dead people by the thousands. In fact, dead people, and we have many examples, filled out ballots, made applications, and then voted, which is even worse. In other words, dead people went through a process. Some have been dead for 25 years. Millions of votes were cast illegally in the swing states alone. And if that's the case, the results of the individual swing states must be overturned, and overturned immediately.
Indeed, if you want a fair election, as we see all of this evidence coming to light. Very interesting. Now, next, the president said the Democrats capitalized on the coronavirus pandemic to rig this election. Listen.
The Democrats had this election rigged right from the beginning. They used the pandemic, sometimes referred to as the China virus, where it originated, as an excuse to mail out tens of millions of ballots, which ultimately led to a big part of the fraud, a fraud that the whole world is watching. And there is no one happier right now than China.
Remember how strange everything seemed? You know, Joe Biden wasn't really campaigning. No one really seemed concerned. The president reminded us how odd they were, and it was as if they knew the fix was in.
My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted.
Well, there were a lot of odd things that the Democrats did during this election, and we're going to talk to a member of the president's legal team coming up here very soon. But first, let's go around the world with Real America's Voice hosts and contributors to see what's happening out there. First, I'd like to check in with Jessica Rivera, our Denver studio, there. Jessica, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, Dr. Gina, President Trump has called for a full forensic audit of all mail-in ballots in key states. The president's reasoning is that many of these ballots have fraudulent signatures, and without verification of these signatures, recounts will only return the same results. But according to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, a signature audit is impossible due to privacy laws. And secretaries of state in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Arizona, they say there's no evidence of enough fraud to overturn election results, and that poll watchers who have claimed they witnessed fraud are just promoting conspiracy theories. But here's the thing, Dr. Gina, I think people, first off, they want to know how these government officials know there isn't enough election fraud to overturn the election results without addressing the concerns that continue to be brought up day after day. Second, privacy laws. Many states already compare signatures on ballot envelopes. For instance, here in Colorado, where I am, they compare the signatures on voters' files, which comes from voter registration forms, ballot application, or the DMV. So I don't know what privacy laws they're citing. Third, a conspiracy theory. It's just the belief that there was a powerful group of people responsible for a secret operation, and that these, to be honest, what they should be more concerned about is actually proving that these conspiracy theories are false. But what they're doing is they're just leaving the questions out there, not really answering them. And fourth and last, many Americans want to know the truth either way, whether it's Joe Biden or President Trump, and are demanding that these Secretary of States and governors just do the jobs that they were put in place to do by the people who elected them, and for them not to forget, they answer to the American people. It's not the other way around.
That plot continues to thicken, doesn't it? Thank you so much, Jessica. All right, let's check in with Carrie Sheffield with the top story from Just the News today. Carrie?
Hey there, Dr. Gina. Happy Friday Eve. I want to let your viewers know about an important concept that Tom Fitton on my program this morning called out. His organization did a study. They put it up on Twitter. We talked about it. And their study showed that 1.8 million excess, or they call them ghost voters, they found in 353 counties across 29 states. They said this data highlights the recklessness of mailing blindly the ballots and the ballot applications. So basically what Tom told me was this 1.8 million voters, this is the mismatch, or he calls them dirty poll books. So this is people who either moved out of the state or maybe they passed away. You're talking about millions of people who should not be on voter rolls, who could actually be allowed to vote. Now, he did caveat that we don't know for sure how many of those 1.8 million people actually did end up voting, or someone used their identity to vote. He also said, though, that this number could be much higher. He said they were only able to get data for 1.8 million for 29 states. So if we're talking about 50 states, this number theoretically is much, much higher. Now, he did say that he thinks that the DOJ has been asleep at the wheel on this issue. He also brought up another issue that I want to highlight for your viewers about a study about the Obama Department of Homeland Security reportedly scanning and breaching the Georgia election site. Now, Governor Brian Kemp has said this was illegal. He's complained about this. There's an investigation ongoing, and Judicial Watch is on top of it. And we, of course, are going to be on top of it also at justthenews.com. Back to you.
I want to check in now with Miranda Kahn in West Palm Beach. Miranda, what do you know?
Hey, Dr. Gina, Trump's legal team just filed a new lawsuit against the Wisconsin Elections Commission. It claims unlawful and unconstitutional acts by Wisconsin public officials. The president spoke about it in his speech last night from the White House. Take a look.
Very rarely were legislatures involved, and constitutionally they had to be involved. But very, very rarely, and you'll see that as we continue to file our suits, it's constitutionally absolutely incorrect what took place, even from a legal standpoint. Many states, such as Nevada and California, sent millions of live ballots to every person on their voter rolls, whether those individuals had requested ballots or not, whether they were dead or alive. They got ballots. Other states, such as Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, instituted universal absentee balloting right in the middle of an election year, sending absentee ballot request forms to all voters on all rolls. It didn't matter who they were.
And Dr. G, the president said that this might be the most important speech he's ever made. Back to you.
Wow. Thanks, Miranda. All right. I want to go out to Ben Berquam at the Carson City Courthouse in Nevada. Ben, what's happening out there?
Well, we have a huge court case going down right behind us in the courtroom. We've got live footage coming from that. We've got hundreds of people outside that have been rallying since earlier today that can't get in here because of the COVID restrictions. A couple updates from the courtroom so far today. We've been told by the campaign and by the attorneys that they have evidence of over 4 times the amount of fraudulent votes cast for Joe Biden than the separation of the President Trump and Joe Biden in the state of Nevada. So that means over 130,000 illegally cast votes they have evidence for here. We did just hear from the judge that 8,000 of those votes will not be considered. 8,000 votes for non-citizens. They have evidence of 8,000 non-citizens voting in Nevada, but the judge has said because he received the evidence too late, that evidence will not be allowed into the courtroom. But they have stacks and stacks and stacks of other voter fraud information, including U.S. Postal Service workers who said
I'm sorry, Ben. I've got to stop you because I just can't.
Service, the whistleblowers.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry, Ben. I just have to stop you. So he's not allowing. So they say there's no evidence, yet when you give them evidence, he's refusing to hear it because he says it's too late. Based on, is there precedent for this? I mean, is this just based on his own artificial timeline? What's this based on? Did he give any indication of this?
He did. He said it's the court timeline that doesn't allow discovery for the other side of the case, law in this case. And so he said the evidence would have had to have been in earlier in order for the opposition or the other side to do discovery on that evidence as well. So, again, it's a little beyond my understanding. I'm not an attorney by trade, but it is shocking to think that we wouldn't allow consideration for 8,000 non-citizens, that includes illegal aliens, evidence of them voting, that we would just allow those votes to stay cast in the state. That's just one of the things. But again, on top of that, they have over 100,000 other fraudulent votes, evidence of that, including the U.S. Postal Service workers saying that they were told by the U.S. Postal Service to deliver ballots to undeliverable locations, at vacant lots, thousands of ballots, and then ultimately ended up picking up those ballots. I'm not sure how they did that, but they have evidence of that as well. The whistleblowers who came out on that is being introduced as well today as we speak.
Unbelievable. I mean, I have to take notes the whole time you're talking, Ben, because these are things that I haven't even heard yet, and I follow this. And there's so much new evidence every day of widespread, I just want to use that word because no one else in media will, widespread voter fraud.
Yes.
That it's mind-blowing.
Yes.
So, Ben, thank you so much for that
Yes.
report. We always appreciate you. You always deliver. Thank you so much. Up next, Joe DeGeneva from President Trump's legal team will tell us whether Bill Barr might have enough evidence now of vote fraud that there is actual video. More Dr. Gina Prime Time be coming right at you. Stay where you are.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean 2. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. SoClean 2 is fast and easy. It keeps my sleep equipment fresh every day without the need for disassembly. To keep the immune system strong, we should do everything we can to ensure a good night's sleep, including using the SoClean 2 daily to keep sleep equipment fresh. Try SoClean 2 risk-free for 30 nights. Order now and get $100 off. SoClean 2 is so fast and gives you peace of mind that your sleep equipment is fresh each time you use it. Call the number on your screen or go to SoClean2.com to take advantage of this risk-free trial and get $100 off. Call now.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Call or go online now to take advantage of Mike's Christmas special. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free. And Mike will extend his money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2021. Order from a variety of colors and solids and new flannel sheets. And don't forget to get your MyPillow gift card for the best Christmas gift ever. Order now.
Well, my family says I'm hard to buy presents for. This year, I'll give them a little hint. Gotta go.
For people who love their vehicles and their pets, WeatherTech is the only name on their list. From our laser-measured floor liners, cargo liner, and cup phone that secures your phone in virtually any vehicle, to our pet feeding system. This season, order the perfect gift at WeatherTech.com.
WeatherTech floor liners for mom and dad. Oh, their pet feeding system for Scruffy. Oh, and cup phone for Aunt Barb to secure her phone in her car. Hey, how did it go?
Shopping is so tough. When are you gonna start yours?
I'm all done.
Make your holiday shopping easy at WeatherTech.com.
Can I borrow that?
Attorney General Barr still in the headlines 2 days after he made the comments that he has seen no widespread election fraud. Didn't sit well with a lot of Americans, actually, about 80 million of them or more. Today, President Trump was asked by a reporter at the White House about his comments. Watch.
Do you still have confidence in Bill Barr?
Ask me that in a number of weeks from now.
But now that actual surveillance video of vote fraud exists, maybe Bill Barr will act. Here with me now to discuss from President Trump's legal team, Joe DeGeneva. Joe, the president says he needs to wait to see if he has confidence in Attorney General Bill Barr. But what about you? Do you have confidence in Attorney General Bill Barr?
Well, this is vintage Trump. This is the way he manages his presidency and his people. I've known Bill Barr for 30 years. He's a consummate lawyer. He's been very loyal to the president. I personally believe that there is more than substantial evidence of national fraud, illegality, irregularities that would affect enough votes to change the outcome of the election. And that's what we have been working on in both litigation and with the state legislatures. So I understand the president's frustration, because in my view, the evidence is overwhelming of illegality.
But I mean, it's really not about opinions, is it? No. Because I mean, Joe, we're looking at this, and I mean, every day, our own Ben Berquam was just on my last segment telling me a whole bunch of evidence that was just presented to a judge, and a bunch of it that the judge didn't accept because he said it was too late. I mean, this is something, and I'm a junkie, Joe. I got to tell you, I follow this stuff literally about 18 hours a day. I'm glued to it. So for me to hear about instances of voter fraud, evidence of it that I didn't know about is kind of surprising that I'm still hearing this, right? And so the fact that Attorney General Barr has somehow managed to dodge the knowledge bullet of what is available and frankly very widespread is shocking to those of us who have seen all of this. I'm thinking, what cave has he been hiding in?
Well, it is rather surprising because as a member of the Trump legal team, and I have been analyzing all of this information for the last 3 weeks, the evidence is overwhelming in various states that there was illegal activity, the exclusion of Republican ballot watchers from areas systematically in 6 states and in 4 major cities, which accounted for the bulk of the electoral votes that gave Mr. Biden not a victory yet, but a lead, and I think it's an illegal lead. That video that was disclosed today at the hearing in Georgia was something that we've been trying to get for 2 weeks. And it was finally obtained late last night. It is a stunning piece of evidence showing activity in the counting center, which is inexplainable. It's just inexplicable.
And so, we had you on, I guess about a week ago on our election special where, John Solomon of Just the News, our partner, and I have been putting on these specials following up on the election irregularities, trying to ask the questions in a newsy kind of a way. My show now, Dr. Gina Primetime, is an opinion show. I like to distinguish that on this network because we're trying to keep those two things very separate. But I want to ask you, between the last time I talked to you and now, I hate the words, how do you feel? Because that to me is a squishy question. But what do you think? How far have we come? Where are we in terms of, I realize we have a lot more information in front of us, but we also have less time. And I know time is not on our side in this. So I want you to give us give us the landscape, if you would, Joe.
Well, I think those are legitimate concerns. We are pressed for time. We have many jurisdictions in which we are operating. We have much more evidence. These public hearings in these legislatures have done a fabulous job of educating the public, if not the media, which is disinterested in the truth and the facts. But I think the American people have gotten a very good picture of how corrupt this election was throughout the United States, but in those 6 major states and those 4 major cities. And so we're fighting like the Dickens. I took time out from the drafting of affidavits and other things to do this spot with you. And Victoria and I will be headed back to continue to do work. She's been working all day on documents, getting new documents, new information. Rudy's been conducting his incredible activities in the legislatures around the country with Jenna Ellis doing stellar work. So, we're doing our best. We still feel we can do this. Everybody's very up. And of course, the president's speech yesterday, where he laid out cold all the facts for the American people, was another great, great job by the president of explaining his position and educating the American people. It was a stunning job and very, very well done. And it was something that gave all of us who are out there doing the litigating and the lobbying with the legislatures incredible inspiration.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And we went through it step by step, actually, in the entire first segment of this program this evening. Joe, it's confusing as we see, though, all the lawsuits out there. For those of us who are not trained legally, there are some, I think we might all qualify as at least common law lawyers by the time this is all over. I'm not kidding about that, by the way. But there's so much swirling involving this campaign and others that you on the president's team are a part of. Please explain for us what lawsuits the official team is working on and what in particular you're focused on now, because I think that's really confusing for people because there are certain lawyers working on certain things, you're working on certain things. I keep wanting to ask you about things that I know you're not involved in, but I want our audience to understand why the narrowing of focus on certain items and what particular realms you're focused on.
Well, we're focused on Pennsylvania and the rulings of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, getting them to the U.S. Supreme Court. We're focused on the Third Circuit decisions and getting that to the Supreme Court. We're focused in Michigan on litigation there, which has just been filed. And a new lawsuit is being filed in Georgia by Cleta Mitchell. And so we have activities underway in all the states. It is confusing to the public. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of other lawsuits that we have nothing to do with that are also very, very fine pieces of legal work. But it's confusing for the people, and that's why voters have to pay attention. It's not easy, but it's part of their duty. And that's all they have to know. It's just working its way up through the courts.
And Joe, I understand because Jenna laid out for us that when something loses in a lower level court, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world because we all know about Bush v. Gore and that a lot of those cases lost at the lower level. But then when it went to the Supreme Court, it won. I get that. But what about like in Nevada, like Ben Berquam just reported for us, when a judge just altogether throws something out because he just decides it's too late to hear it? Is there any recourse for that in the law?
Well, yeah, there's the appeals process, but that takes time. The fact that a judge doesn't want to hear it because he thought it should have been filed earlier or later, in many of these instances, these judges don't even understand the laws in their own state. This was a criticism from a couple of cases where the law didn't permit us to file litigation until after certification or after certain deadlines were reached. So you can't break the law in order to enforce it. So right. Individual judges make their individual decisions, and that's why there's an appeal process.
All right. Well, we appreciate, I know you are working 22-hour days, you and your amazing wife, Victoria, and we appreciate everything the entire legal team is doing. Not as a partisan, honestly, but as someone who wants to know that our Constitution is still in place and that our right as voters matters and that we have free and fair elections so that we can maintain our republic. That's the reason why I know that our viewers appreciate what you're doing. Joe DeGenova, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Coming up, you won't believe what the experts say our kids need to do to stay in school. Mandatory vaccines, anyone? Stick around. More Dr. Gina Primetime coming at you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Call or go online now to take advantage of Mike's Christmas special. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free. And Mike will extend his money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2021. Order from a variety of colors and solids and new flannel sheets. And don't forget to get your MyPillow gift card for the best Christmas gift ever. Order now.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
Taking so long?
Mom? Dad?
This holiday, give the gift of WeatherTech. From our laser-measured floor liners, a cargo liner, Christmas tree mat, and cup phone to secure your phone in virtually any vehicle. This season, order the perfect gift at WeatherTech.com. And don't forget WeatherTech gift cards.
Welcome back to Dr. Gina Prime Time. We're so glad you're with us, by the way. And I want to tell you, it is time to check in with one of my faves. It is Damon to see what's coming up on his show, live from Studio 6B. Comes up right after this show at 8 p.m., so you won't want to change your channel. Going to you now, Damon.
All right, Dr. G, thanks so much. Congratulations on the show. Great show so far. Live from Studio 6B. We'll be live at 8 p.m. Paul Nolan's going to have news. Rick Delgado's here. Rick Emirati will have sports. You know, I'm going to spend some time looking at Pennsylvania because the president really needs the math. People argue the math. He needs to win Pennsylvania. We're going to be looking at Act 77 and why the Republicans really have a moral obligation here to get behind this lawsuit that's been filed in Pennsylvania, one of the many, but really the one that has the best chance to get in the Supreme Court, that all of these mail-in ballots were illegal and are illegal and should be thrown out because you can't change the state's constitution without a specific, certain situation you have to go through. We'll discuss what that is and why all these ballots should be thrown out. 8 p.m. live from Studio 6B. Dr. G, back to you.
Awesome. And if you haven't seen it, his Crazy Town segment is the funniest segment on television, on any show. I don't care what you watch, on media, anywhere. So check it out. All right, now these days, parents like me have to worry about a lot more than just the future of our country and the integrity of our elections, unfortunately. Parents around the country are worried when we hear about these so-called experts talking about shutting down schools because of COVID. And the scariest part, some of those same experts say that the only way to safely open schools again is if all students are required to receive a vaccine. And as a mother of 5 children, I can tell you that my children probably won't be taking any part in mandatory vaccines unless I feel really, really sure about them. And so far, I have none of those assurances. Here with me now to discuss, the founder of America's Frontline Doctors, Dr. Simone Gold. Dr. Gold, we see that children are not affected much by the COVID virus. I think that's the first notable thing. So why are we, first of all, why are we worried about vaccinating children first? I think we would want to start with nursing homes, and we would want to start with the adult population and work our way down. And they're saying it's going to take years to vaccinate everyone. So why would we be discussing forcibly vaccinating children at this point?
Of course, you're right, Dr. Gina. It's very important to keep in mind the infection fatality rate, which is exceedingly low in children under age 10 or up to 10 or 15. You're talking 1 in 50,000 children who come down with COVID-19 or succumb to it. This is a very non-lethal illness for children. Absolutely should not be having mass vaccination conversations at all. You know, I am a mom. You know, people know me as a doctor, but I am a mom, and I would not give my children a brand new medication for an illness, for a virus that simply does not really hurt them. It's ludicrous.
Well, and we remember a lot of vaccines. I mean, I'm not trying to be, you know, an anti-vaxxer. People get so freaked out by that terminology. What I am is skeptical about anything. If you invented a new fruit today, I'd be like, well, wait, how did you make the fruit if it's brand new? I want to know why at least one of the vaccines needs to be refrigerated at some crazy amount of, like, hundreds of degrees below zero. I want to understand that. My understanding is, at least I was told, and I don't know, you can maybe verify some of this. I've read that one of the ingredients, when I researched on the internet, the only information that I could find was that some of it came from an aborted baby. That bothers me from a religious perspective. I'm not saying that's in all of the vaccines. I'm saying that was in one of them. I haven't had time to research all of them, but I am trying to do my due diligence. And I remember, Dr. Gold, vaccines that I have given my children, and then I come to find out later, now the doctors say, oh, whoops, sorry, that was a really dangerous vaccine. We want to change that vaccine all up and make it different now because the one you gave your child causes all these problems. Oops. Yeah. I don't want to find that out 5 years from now. Thank you.
We have to be very careful to get this right because we're talking about vaccinating wide swaths or really the entire population. We cannot afford to make a mistake. So we must go to the science. The science shows that the IFR, the infection fatality rate, is exceedingly low until you start hitting really in the mid-age range, mid-70s, and again, of course, with comorbid conditions. So there really should be, we must not hasten to this. This entire vaccine process has gone very fast, and there's some things that you simply cannot substitute time. For example, animal studies of prior coronavirus vaccines, they all had to be abandoned. Did you ever wonder why there is no vaccine for any other coronavirus prior to COVID-19? It's because the animals all did very badly. They had an enhanced immune reaction, and the cats mostly either they died or they got very sick, and that's why we haven't had a coronavirus vaccine. So I'm very nervous about the fact that we're releasing this so early. And again, it's different if you are 80 years old or 85 years old. Your risk to benefit ratio is much different than that of a young, healthy person. True. Certainly much different than a child.
42% of people have said they don't want any part, at least right off the bat, of a COVID vaccination. But that means that 68% are willing to take it. So now I'm hearing that airlines, for example, are going to say you have to prove. I don't know if they're going to chip us or what they're going to do with us, but you're going to have some kind of card you carry or something to get on a public airline, right? So I guess a lot of us are going to be flying private or not flying at all. Actually, I'm having a Christmas party, and I invited a friend of mine who lives in Washington, D.C., and he said, I don't fly. I won't wear a mask. And I thought, you know, this is going to be the story we're going to get. We're going to have people that literally don't go places anymore because of this, if they can't afford to fly private. So I'm wondering, though, if 68% of the population is ready and willing to take this vaccine, and probably there's a percentage of those people that the benefit might outweigh the risk for them. 58, not 68. Sorry, my math skills. There you go. It might, you know, so that might be good for them. Then why not just start with the people that are voluntary?
Right. So, people sometimes forget that I'm also an attorney, and the civil liberty aspect of this is enormous. A person's individual inalienable rights do not evaporate just because somebody else wishes them to. So it's one thing to voluntarily get any kind of medication or mask for that matter, and it's another thing entirely to be mandated to do so. There are enormous civil liberty problems with mandating medications, to say the least.
So let me ask you this. So you've got to also consider that a lot of people have already had COVID. I happen to be one of those people, and I also was measured for both types of antibodies. And I have very strong antibodies on both counts, both of the two different sorts of antibodies. One of them, I guess, is a long-term antibody. You can explain this better than I can. And the other is a shorter-term antibody. I'm using very layman terms that my doctor tried to explain to me. And so why should I be mandated to take a vaccine?
Okay, so you bring up an excellent point. There are millions and millions of people around the world who've already had COVID-19, and the pharmaceutical manufacturers have not studied the effect of the vaccine in persons who've already had COVID-19. So not only should you not be mandated, it hasn't even been studied clearly that it's safe. Of course you should not be taking a vaccine. You already have antibodies, and we don't even know if it's safe for people who've already had COVID-19 to take the vaccine. This is an enormous problem, very big problem. Hasn't been studied.
So what you're saying is there could be a correlation between complications from the vaccine and those who've had COVID, because obviously people like me have already had an immune reaction, because that's what antibodies showing up in your blood test is an immune reaction. So then you add another immune reaction to the exact same thing, and you could cause a correlative difficulty that could put those people in further danger.
What I want to say about this is we simply don't know. We don't know because the science isn't yet been studied. Those groups of people haven't been studied because the process has been rushed. So it would be one thing to rush it out if the infection fatality rate was very high, but it's not. There is no reason to rush something out without studying it thoroughly when the IFR is very low. No, it's bad science. And I'm not against vaccines. My kids have been vaccinated. But this is bad science, right? We don't know. We don't know what we don't know yet.
So Dr. Gold, another question that I get a lot. What is herd mentality? How many people have to be immune to have herd mentality, whatever that is?
Yeah, so we thought initially that herd immunity would have to be about 70% in a community, and then the virus kind of doesn't really have any place to land, and it sort of kind of disappears a bit. It turns out all across the world, when herd immunity reaches close to 20%, then the rates start going down. So there seems to be kind of a missing 50% in there, and we believe that might be the T cell immunity, which is not measured by a blood test by the antibodies that you have, because our herd immunity seems to be leveling off at 20%, but the most likely explanation is there's another 50% that we're not accounting for in the current type of testing. I don't know if that's clear.
Okay, herd immunity, forgive me.
Okay, it's a complicated subject.
No, it is. It's so complicated that I'm not getting my math right. I'm not getting my words right. But I know what I'm trying to ask you, because I think this is one of these. I have so many questions. Like I told you, I could do a whole 2-hour special just with you. And then I want to get back to the mask topic, because I really think that this is something that we're being just misled on. I'm very concerned about what is happening to our children on this. I had told you my own son has a staph infection. My son's school, which will not be named, did allow a doctor's notice, thank God, and allowed him to wear a faceplate instead of a fabric mask. And so his staph infection is clearing up, and I'm very thankful for his school working with us on that. But my other children are wearing the face masks, and who knows. So on the masks, which are also mandated, by the way, to get on most airlines, not all of them, but most of them. Is there any long-term studies on what happens when you breathe in particulate matter fibers into your lungs all day, every day? I'm just curious about that, especially in the form of cloth, because the masks, we can't confuse and we can't equate. You explained this the other day very well. We can't equate the masks that surgeons wear so that they can't breathe and accidentally, put, what do you try to say, contaminate people under the knife, right? In a surgical environment. Those masks are completely different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about cloth masks, right? And wearing them all day long, every single day, as many people do in the work environment or the school environment. And the cloth fibers, which are unknown, because there's no mandate as to what kind of cloth, right? A lot of people just have to wear a cloth mask. So do we know what happens when you breathe those particulate fibers all day long into your lungs? Because I know if you were smoking tobacco, that's not good for you.
So I just like to stick with what we know for certain, which is that these cloth fabrics do not keep out the COVID-19 virus. It's that simple. The SARS-CoV-2 virus, which can cause COVID-19, is 0.1 micron in size. The pore size of the mask is 200 to 1,000 times larger than that. It's irrelevant in terms of SARS-CoV-2. So if it's irrelevant, it should not be mandated, it should not be mainstream, and like everything else in America, it should be your choice. And I'm sorry to see us doing something. I think a lot of this comes around because people want to do something. They want to feel like they're being helpful. And it's a shame that they're being so misinformed, that they think this is a helpful thing to do, because it's emphatically not.
Yeah, we all do want to do something, and I really appreciated your comparison the other day of if you wanted to keep someone from throwing sand at you, putting up a chain link fence, and that was your comparison of wearing a mask, which I thought was just a great visual. Dr. Simone Gold, we could go on all day. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up, you've heard it said that if the left didn't have double standards, they might not have any standards at all. And we have some more cases of liberal hypocrisy you won't even believe. Stay where you are.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow, and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Call or go online now to take advantage of Mike's Christmas special. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free. And Mike will extend his money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2021. Order from a variety of colors and solids and new flannel sheets. And don't forget to get your MyPillow gift card for the best Christmas gift ever. Order now.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be? $67. Sorry.
Wait, have you heard about GoodRx? GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
Welcome back to Dr. Gina Prime Time. Liberal hypocrisy. seems to be at an all-time high, and COVID is exposing this, honestly, more than ever. Leftist politicians shaming us for seeing our families on the holidays. How could we? And they force us to shut down our businesses, lecture us on how we do everything wrong, and we're endangering the health of everybody around us. But they don't follow their own rules. These are the ones who have been busted so far. You have Gavin Newsom, California governor, went to a party in Napa and he got busted. You have San Fran Mayor London Breed, went to the same restaurant the next day, didn't learn from Gavin's mistake, got busted too. San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo went to a big Thanksgiving dinner. LA County Supervisor Sheila Keel, I don't know how you say her last name, went out to dinner after voting to close restaurants for thee, but not she. Austin, Texas Mayor Steve Adler told residents to stay home and then went on vacation in Cabo. Denver Mayor Michael Hancock went to see family in Mississippi for Thanksgiving after telling residents not to do exactly what he did. And these are the hypocrites we know about. You have to laugh, because if you don't laugh, I don't know what. I mean, you just, these are people who take themselves seriously for a living. Here with me now to discuss, two guests joining us from that crazy coast, Amanda Head and Mandy Vandenberg. Welcome to the show, ladies. Maggie, you first. Are you following along with the rules, even though our liberal overlords won't follow their own rules? I mean, what do you do with this when you live there? I can't even fathom.
You know, it makes it incredibly difficult, and we can resist as much as we want, but at the end of the day, if businesses are closed and we don't have an option of being able to go to them or normal way, I mean, what are we supposed to do? They've closed down hundreds of churches across the state. I actually wanted to go to church, and it was the first time I was able to attend church in person, the first time since February, and I had to drive 2 hours to find a church that I could attend in person. And that's the kind of thing we're looking at here in parts of California, where so many things are being restricted, and businesses, even like the ones in San Francisco, which were open. Even yesterday, I went out to dinner in San Francisco, and now those same businesses are not going to be open any longer.
I mean, you know, you all just simply don't have your values straight. If you wanted to be Antifa and go steal things out of stores, if you wanted to break things and riot in the streets, if you wanted to go to a bar, that would be fine. But you should really know better than doing things like being around your family, going to church, meeting friends for dinner. Amanda, have you not learned yet that the overlords don't approve of such immoralities?
Yeah, I mean, if the left didn't have double standards, they would have absolutely no standards at all. If it weren't so sad, it would be funny, Gina, because how hilarious is it that you have all of these Democrats who think that they can go out and just flout the rules? I mean, frankly, they can, because they're not going to suffer any repercussions, especially here in California. And on one hand, I think to myself, okay, well, you know, these business owners, it's impossible that all of these business owners support President Trump or conservative values or pro-freedom values. There are bound to be some of them who are Democrats and liberals. And so on one hand, I hope to myself that, you know, maybe this is going to shift their thinking when they vote next time. But unfortunately, there is a pandemic here in California. It is the pandemic of stupidity, and people who perpetually vote for Democrats knowing that Democrats are exactly the ones who are perpetrating these liberty restrictive policies on their people. And here in California, Gavin Newsom just did another press conference today because he loves seeing himself on camera talking about how further restrictions are coming down the pike. How much further can you restrict us than what we have already been restricted to? Now, you know, I'm a little bit more lighthearted about this. When I hear that another restriction is coming, I just laugh it off, because I walk around my neighborhood without a mask, and I don't care how many stink eyes I get from my neighbors. I do it anyway. And I'm actually about to bail out of town to go to Georgia, so it's fantastic that I'm going to be gone for most of this. But it's unfortunate because there are businesses that are failing, businesses who just barely made it through the first shutdown. They opened back up when they were allowed to with restrictions, spent money they didn't have on plexiglass, PPE, all of the things that they needed to operate business outdoors of their, you know, their indoor dining. And now they're shut down again. It's unfortunate, but, you know, I hate to say it, but you get what you vote for.
Yeah, and I'm going to see you in Georgia, by the way. We're going to be covering that together. I'm excited to see you. But, I want you to carry a little, your camera around with you and just show people's faces as you walk through California, because I'm sure the reaction is very film-worthy. People around the country are getting fed up, though. The bar, there's a bar in Staten Island, New York. A guy was arrested for keeping his bar open after the city and state told him to shut down because of COVID. Here's a little of what the bar owner had to say about that.
All right, I'm out here in front of Max Public House, 130 Lincoln Avenue, being raided by the Sheriff's Department, okay? This tiny little place trying to make a living, okay? 350 people on an airplane, thousands of planes, okay? This close to each other. Costco's open, Home Depot, people lined up, backed up with each other. This guy can't open his...
And here, by the way, is what the neighborhood residents are thinking about that. This is what it looked like outside that bar last night. People came out in droves in support of him. I want to make sure we show that. Maggie, it looks like people are putting their brave faces on and showing support. And I'm willing to bet you not all those people voted for Donald Trump on Election Day. I imagine this is converting a few people over to the freedom side of things. What do you know about that?
I sure hope it is, and I hope people are waking up and paying attention, because as that business owner mentioned, we see the hypocrisy that large, big box businesses are allowed to be open, Costco's open, and we've got chain restaurants open. But meanwhile, those smaller businesses are being forced to close or to operate under these extreme pressure and restrictions. So it's pretty unbelievable. And I think people, I'm so proud to see these patriots standing up and fighting back, because I think that's what it's going to take. And my message to people would be, look, it's time to reopen your business, be safe, but just reopen. And I think if more businesses do this, they're not going to be able to shut down all of them, and people need to take a stand.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I remember, I think it was maybe you, Amanda, that told me that all of the counties have all of these really strict rules with all of the restaurants closed except for the Napa area. Was that you that told me that? The whole Napa area, the restaurants didn't have to close because that's where all the politicians like to go. Obviously, we know French Laundry. The one restaurant owner went ahead and renamed his restaurant French Laundry so that he could go ahead and keep his business open. It's astonishing to me that this is happening. And thank you all for enduring it and standing strong. And I know, Amanda, you'll be ready to get out of there and meet me in Georgia for the President's rally this weekend. So we'll be happy to see you there. Thank you both for being with us, Amanda and Maggie. Appreciate having you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G.
All right. And of course, thanks to all of you for being with us here tonight. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and thanks for joining us every single night. This is your new home for real news, the uncensored, the undaunted, real America's voice. And in light of everything we brought you tonight, there is lots of good news and lots of blessings to count as we go over them all the time. So this is what you do. You hug your children. You love your God. These are doctor's orders tonight, I guess, because I think I forgot that segment. And you go boldly now, and you live the truth. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean 2. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. SoClean 2 is fast and easy. It keeps my sleep equipment fresh every day without the need for disassembly. To keep the immune system strong, we should do everything we can to ensure a good night's sleep, including using the SoClean 2 daily to keep sleep equipment fresh. Try SoClean 2 risk-free for 30 nights. Order now and get $100 off. SoClean 2 is so fast and gives you peace of mind that your sleep equipment is fresh each time you use it. Call the number on your screen or go to SoClean2.com to take advantage of this risk-free trial and get $100 off. Call now.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra